starting the video.
Is it live?
Yes.
Why every time the thing go on, I start singing? Like, yes, Lord.
I just do not know, but that's a conversation for another day.
Let me see if mine. Did you tag me?
Yeah. You eating the 4 opinions, love opinions.
Not yet.
It should be on though, right?
We gotta make sure it's live. There you go.
I was gonna say it's live.
Hey everybody. Look at that, I got my volume up. Hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
It is Thursday. We've had a rough week, but
It is
we
a
made
rough
it.
week.
We want to say hi to Edie. She's out this week, and also Ebony. She's out. So hey, you guys. But you know what? We had to hold it down for them.
We did.
We gonna try to.
We here. Yep. We're
Right.
gonna try to.
But we gonna do it.
We got a good subject. It's a good one.
Yeah. Like and share. Go ahead and like and share. Come on in and let your friends know we're on. I think this is gonna be a good topic.
I think
this
so.
is an interesting topic.
I think it's interesting.
I think the reason why we started thinking about it is because even in me, I'm guilty of it as well. Like 70 to 80% of our time is always talk about how happy we want to be.
Right. That's like the 2019 theme. Like everybody wants to be happy.
Nobody's accepting no unhappiness.
Right.
Well, we saying that.
Right.
On the
Out
outside,
loud,
right?
But on the inside, are you really keeping your
Right.
word to being happy?
Right. So a lot of people is being committed to this word called happiness, and for me, I always try to stay in a happy place. I guess that's what you can call it. But and I've also witnessed people saying that they were in this happy place, but I was like, this is the nastiest, unhappiest person I've ever met in my life.
Right.
But it's like they be like a soldier for the word happiness. So that's pretty much what we're going to try to talk about. We will try to stay on for an hour to get through this podcast. But, I think it will be interesting. Like I said, like and share it to get people to come on. But, so I guess we need to come up with our own, the definition of happiness.
Yeah, we'll read the definition. I'll read the definition. So the definition, happiness, is often defined as internal feelings or state of satisfaction in each one.
Each and one.
Yep. So I don't know. I guess for myself, happiness, when I think about happiness, I think about the big picture. I my thing too, and I'm guilty of saying like 2019, I want to be happy. Like that's my thing. I think I even I get my tattoo that I have now.
Yeah,
It kind of is to remind me. Yeah, I did. It's to remind me to put myself first and to be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think happiness also makes you healthy. When you're not happy and you're in whatever state of mind, that can really put you in a different place in life, in thoughts. So for me, happiness, I guess for my definition of it is just like it says, well-being, mental well-being for me.
You know what? I just wanted to know, like, what was the big wave of just like all of a sudden everybody was like, I want to be happy. This is what I'm going to do for this year, and I'm not accepting anything less than that. Because more so now than ever, we always see, like, I'm happy. You happy. Stay in your lane. I'm happy. I'm doing me.
Right.
Like, so, like,
Right. So that just tells you then that, because no one was really saying that last year.
No.
So that
Not
just
as
tells
much.
you that people were living a different type of lifestyle and things are changing. Like,
Right.
this was a new year, so this was probably their prime opportunity to say, new year, starting over, not putting up with mess.
Yes. So.
I feel the same way, though.
I know. I don't know if I made that as my resolutions for this year, but I did say like it was a certain state of being that I wanted to be in this year. My biggest thing was when I evaluated my life, when I had the opportunity to get into that space of learning Tiffany, I knew that like 90% of me being upset or unhappy was not because of me. And that was the thing that made me be like, okay, this year, when 2019 come, I want to take a risk at being unhappy about my things. You know, you kind of get what I'm saying? Like, most of the time, it was like, if somebody called me and they say something, then I'm unhappy.
Right.
Or if somebody do something that has something to do with them, I'm unhappy. And, like, I could just go, like, as far with the kids. When they didn't do decisions or made decisions that I thought was okay, like, I will be freaking upset, and, like, they'll be living their best life.
Right.
And I'm all unhappy, and they're happy with it. You know, so so I was like, I made up my mind. I'm like, in 2019, I would not allow anybody else, or like, I can't put a nail in the coffin, but then it said that I really said that I wanted to really focus on me making myself unhappy. Like, I wanted to be making myself happy.
Yeah.
And when I was unhappy, I wanted to have a choice that I was unhappy about my stuff.
Not
you know what I
other
mean?
people's stuff. Right?
Yeah, because it was just always about somebody else.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, if you really, like, you know, the people that's tuned in, if you really look at your daily, day-by-day routine, you're never unhappy about something that you did.
Yeah, that you did, right.
Right.
Exactly.
It could be your husband can get up and not take the garbage out. Now you mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, you know, just anything, and now you're unhappy all day. Or somebody could say something to you at work. They readjusted your whole ether for that day. Right. Yeah, so... So, we was coming up with some, I got a list of things that we could probably be in agreement or not, but it was only, like, my opinion of some of the top things that would keep you away from being happy.
Okay.
And the number one thing is, but we always know, relationships.
Oh, that's the biggest one.
That's the only one, I think. Seriously.
I mean, that one affects you the most in your personal life.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's huge.
Why do people allow relationships to alter their happiness?
I think that because we're women, we are the ones mostly affected by it. I'm not going to say there's no men out there that don't get affected by the relationship, but I think because we're usually the most sensitive ones, we're the ones in our feelings. You know what I mean? It's easier for us to cry and talk about things compared to the men. So I think that just plays a part of our DNA as a woman. Yeah.
Most of the time when my daughter probably is going to be mad at me, but I called her the other day, and I am her Facebook friend, and me and her have a really deep relationship because she's the child that I can still kind of like pour into, and she listens. Like the other ones, you could tell them something, they be like, yeah, whatever, and then they bump their head, and then they come back. But Infinity is one of the ones that I can really talk to, and she kind of listens and readjusts, per se. But I had told her yesterday, I was like, well, if you're dating or whatever, I said the things that you put on Facebook all the time, it seems like you're so unhappy. And I get it, she's a teenager, got a child, working, trying to go to school. She's doing all these things, and I understand that the outcome or just the current situation probably feel like it's unhappy. But I said, I just want to check your mental. I said, you're going to have to start pouring into yourself more, like speak happy things into your life.
That's true.
Everything that you're saying is true, probably. What you're saying is true. It's hilarious because I've been there, done that. But I said, you have to find yourself a happy place. Because your happiness brings a healthy place for you and your child.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy, then you cannot do anything. I said, in regards to your relationships, your friendships, everything, like that is the thing that's going to take you have to make yourself happy. And so I just understand, like for me, when I think about, relationships and, friendships, all those things can affect your happiness. Yeah. Because if you don't have like a person that is believing or want the same thing for you, eventually you'll be unhappy.
Yeah, and it'll show in their friendships towards
right. You. And that's and I'm telling you, the most people that call me or I'm ministering to, I guess that will be what I would call it, would be like they are unhappy because of somebody else. Because nothing has changed with their circumstance. It's just the relationship is having an issue. So when a relationship is having an issue, it affects the whole being. Mm-hmm. Like if this bill been due forever, this relationship will make it seem like they're about to cut the lights off today. You know what I mean? So.
And you know what? There's people out there that are happiness zappers. energy zapper. So let's just say the old saying, misery loves company.
Yep.
So, you know, you have people out there that you living your best life and doing good. They always got something to say. Then eventually you'll be down. And then you'll find yourself, hopefully not, but you may find yourself saying something to another person that may be having a, you know what I mean? It's just contagious. It's really surprising how happiness isn't contagious, but derogatory people, it's that crap catches on like wildfire.
Right, because you can wake up in the morning like, hi, good morning.
Right.
And as soon as you even like to go get coffee, and then there's one rude person, they affect that whole day.
Yep.
Like, so we said the toxic relationships was one of the top things to me that can affect your happiness. Yeah.
I think that is the biggest one.
That's
relationships.
the biggest one, yeah.
Because you're right, friendships.
Yeah, friendships too. I mean, your friend could do something to you and you like, your life is over. Depending on the depth, how close you guys are in a relationship. Just wanted to say hi to a couple of people. Stanley from Chicago, how you doing? Peaches, my sister. Ooh, we got it. Oh, okay. And Sherry, Clerk, and we got Prince that's on here, and then my girl Janelle. What's up?
Hey, everybody.
So it was another. If you could take one of them, that another reason why.
Which one did you read?
I read the first one, just a toxic relationship. So.
Okay, where are you? Negative thoughts. Oh yeah, negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Will we kind of cover that one? Negative thoughts. I think.
Some people think that they cannot be happy. Ain't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I mean, I shouldn't say crazy. Sorry, that was not right.
But negative thoughts do bring you down, and if you're right, if you can't put yourself into a positive place, and that's the biggest thing is surrounding yourself by positive people. You really have to get in when you fit in, because you hang around. For an example, if you hang around a bunch of
negative Nancy's,
right, you will find yourself being just as crabby and you know what, as they are, and that's not a healthy state of mind to be in.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself just like redirecting the person's negative energy. Like, God, everything you say is negative. Like, is there any positive in this? But
you know what? And I try to do that too. So like now when I catch myself, because I work around a bunch of people like that, yep, I fall right into this and that, and that. Then all of a sudden I'll be like, but you know what? And I'll try to think, because I know the energy that I'm putting out there is just keeping me stagnant. So I have to try to focus on changing it, just to kind of bring myself up mentally.
And the whole team, you can bring the whole team up. Like one positive thought can change everything.
Exactly.
And I think about like the negative thoughts that you have, and I think when I was thinking about that, like your negative thoughts, like who are you to be happy? You know, we get to the spiritual part, like the enemy will kind of like have you to that part, like you don't deserve to be happy. I know some women that actually get into marriages or they have a relationship, they are like, I can't believe this is true. Because they have thought so negative about themselves or thought, negative things about themselves that they couldn't even, appreciate if something.
You mean like compliments or like anything, someone would ever love them? Oh,
yeah. So the negative thoughts keep them from being happy, and like, and it goes back to my daughter again. I was like, you have to speak life into yourself, because those negative thoughts, I'm like, because I know in the millennial, and even with the adults as well, because we kind of get customized to be in a certain way. I think about, like I said, the millenniums, it's cute about how y'all talk about different things all day, every day. But, you need to take a stance. And actually today, when I looked on Facebook, like it had more inspiring things to be like, I said, those negative thoughts will consume you.
Yeah, they will.
And you will start feeling like that. I'm like, you got to get out that box. Let's see, we got Princess Moss.
Hey, Princess.
Princess. Yep. People can definitely affect you and your mood. And then Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda. I'll be seeing you shortly. She says, say that, Tiffany. So, you just got to always, thank you guys for tuning in. So you always got to just watch the negative thoughts. That will take away your happiness. All right,
Who should be in charge of happiness, though? Should we be in charge of our own happiness?
Girl, you better.
Well, because some people rely on other people to make them happy.
See, and that's dangerous.
It is, but there's a lot of. This is why now probably the whole thing is 2019. I want to be happy.
That is a dangerous situation. You know what? That's dangerous, because you know what? At the end of the day, when you want to get to a certain happiness, you cannot, because your happy ain't my happy. I can't be in charge of how you gonna feel today, because it's not customized to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people too, and we just gonna call them out. I know a lot of women.
A lot of women
that depend on men. That depend on men to
make them happy.
Make them happy. Y'all, we probably got somebody that's gonna come in here. We gonna see. Hold on. Walter Q. Bear Banks, you ain't doing nothing.
Wow, what's going on?
Come here.
Well, we gotta move your camera. I don't want to mess up.
Right.
Uh-oh. Y'all, we got a man.
Yeah, we can get a man's perspective in here. All right, sir.
Let me come in here and see what
we
y'all...
talking about happiness.
You see where I was sitting? You want to go and take my chair, and I'll take this one
okay.
right next to you, sir.
You ain't doing nothing but talking about happiness.
Ooh.
The man of all wisdom.
I don't be knowing nothing.
Yes, you do.
Just be in the traffic in the way.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Everybody who don't know, y'all know that. I always pull him in here because I know he probably was busy, but sometimes I need your wisdom because you help me get through a lot of stuff. We was just talking about happiness, right?
Okay.
So we was talking about how she just asked a question. Is what's it?
Whose responsibility is it to make you happy? Is it yourself? Because there's a lot of women right now that rely on other people, could be friends, husbands, boyfriends, to make them happy.
Right. So now pose your question again, and I'm going to answer.
Yeah, he go. Like you gotta say it like
I gotta make sure I get the question right.
So whose job is it to make you happy?
It's my job to make me happy.
So no one else makes you happy?
No, I didn't say nobody else didn't make me happy.
Okay.
You can find happiness in other places, but you got to be happy within yourself first. It's just like the word love. You can't spread love and give love to somebody else if you don't love yourself first. So you got to start with self first, and then from that, then you can exceed it on to somebody else.
Yeah.
So why do you think so many people today are like looking for their happiness in other people?
Because they don't have it in self. And so now they're trying to find out where can they get something that they know that they're missing. It's like, your inner spirit tells you what's good and what's bad. Everybody has that. And so from that, when you go through so many different situations or so many different issues, so many different problems,
we were just talking about
then that elevates that side of you feel so much pressure on yourself. You need somebody else sometimes in order to help you find what you're looking for. But it really does start with self first.
Maybe that's what a lot of people are lacking. I mean, have you noticed like the theme for 2019? Everyone's like, happiness is the main thing that everybody's looking for. I want to be happy. I want to live my best life is the thing now.
Yeah, but then the thing is what exactly is that?
Right.
Because I'm going to throw it back to you and I'm going to say, okay, now explain to me what makes you happy. You got to take a mirror. You got to look into that bad boy. You got to be honest with yourself. And that's where it really falls at. If you're not honest with yourself on where you at and what's going on, then you ain't going to be honest with nobody else. Everything really starts with self first.
Preach.
Yeah.
It starts
and my
with
friend
self first.
Athena, this is a good one. She said they know they are lacking. Instead of working on yourself, it's easier to look outside.
Yeah.
And I think that is true. Like, why we was just having a discussion before we started the podcast. Was like, why do we always want to look for things outside before we start to work in the inside?
Because we never turn the mirror down back to ourselves first. It's like, if you don't look at yourself first and say that I am somebody, I am that somebody that somebody else might want in their life. If you don't check self and make self right, you ain't no good for nobody else. And so if you ain't no good for me, I could tell that a block away to say, no, I don't want to go down that block because that looked like trouble coming out the gate in the first place. I'm happy by myself.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. It's so crazy that you came in and said that. Okay, so so right now we're going through the top things that keep us away from happiness. So we already did the toxic relationships, and then we did the negative thoughts. And so the one is comparison to others. Keep us unhappy because we compare our lives to our happiness to other people's happiness.
But okay, let me give you that one real quick. A lot of people think the grass is greener on the other side.
True.
But the real thing in that is the grass is watered different.
Exactly.
If you don't put nothing into it to help it to grow, it'll stay stagnant and it'll be what it is.
I used to say back in the day, or unless it's side.
It doesn't make a difference.
I used to thought I was the hottest. I was like, the grass is green on the other side, but you didn't know it was side.
But you know what? You got to water it too.
But shoot.
Because I mean, even with that, when you're looking at sod, I mean, and I know we just having this convo, right? But even if you look at that, it's just a whole plot of dirt. But if you water it, you never know what's underneath it or what's in it, in order to find out what grows from it. And so that's just like life within itself. You can always look across the street and see something better, but why not take that dirt that you got in front of you and water it, and then let it grow? And then you'll know, because you never know what roots is really down in there until you dig yourself down into it.
Yeah.
So do you think that's easier said than done?
I think life is easier said than done. You know, you can say, I living my best life. You can make a song about it all day.
All day.
But what does that really mean? What is your best life? You know, for some people, that best life is to just wake up every morning and be able to breathe.
Yeah.
You know, because we take a lot of each other for granted. We take self for granted. We take that's happening over across someplace else for granted. And then all of a sudden now you find yourself that you take anything and everything around you for granted. You never learn to appreciate it until you start dealing with self and then really having respect for self first. All those different things and different words that you can come with about something else that you're looking for, if you don't find it within yourself first, you can't extend it to nobody else, be it happy, mad, or whatever else.
Right.
You know?
So we got Maria, she said hi to you, her beautiful niece. And then we got Athena. Oh, wait, no. Rhonda said it's easier to look on the outside instead of diving deeper internally.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is so true.
But I'm telling you, that mirror makes a big difference. Because you got to, it's looking at yourself, looking at you, and then saying, what can I do to make me a better me? Well, I just want to be happy. But you got to figure out what happiness, what makes you happy.
So another thing that we was talking about that keep us away from our happiness is guilt and shame. Sometimes people make you feel like you can't be happy. Like, I get that. Oh, I'm so glad I got this platform.
Well, wait a second. Before you move on to this one, can I just can we go back to that other one? The one that we were just talking about, because I just wanted to bring something up about social media. People really believe that Instagram and Facebook and all that other stuff is real. People are only putting out their happy moments. They're not putting out the bad, sad, and the shame that's going on behind closed doors. So when you guys are falling into all that Facebook and how these other people look like they're living their best life, doesn't necessarily mean that they are.
Yeah, people never wanted to share that deep, intimate stuff. And you know what? And they missing the mark, because in your happiness, you have to be able to tell the truth.
Now, let me
that's a big thing.
Let me get this one to both of y'all.
Oh.
We doing the social media side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I go boop, boop, and I punch I like. Because they got these likes that y'all punch up on the little social media, like, girl, I love what you doing. God, dude, I like this. And don't bit more know or have the best concern about anything that you're doing.
Right.
It's just that social media side of saying, oh, well, this is the new fad. This is something to do. I like you, do. I like you, do. I poke you. I poke you.
You poking people cute.
I don't know what it means, but I'm just saying.
It's trying to get your attention when they poke you.
But listen what I'm saying.
But
because
it makes people happy.
Because the other part to that is the likes and the pokes, they have meaning to something. But then if you don't know what it means and you're on the other side just punching it and poking because everybody told you, oh, this is what we're doing now.
You know what? It's so funny that you said that. One time I went out of town, and I'm not going to say where I was at, but my girls I was over at their house or whatever, but they was getting like fully dressed. So I'm like, oh, we finna go somewhere, right? They got dressed like full makeup, full glam and everything to take pictures for Facebook.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I was like, and they was really on, and they was so happy about how they looked, but we weren't going anywhere. They was like taking them for Facebook pictures. So, like you said, social media has become the point of, we didn't put that down on there, that social media has become a part of people's
average lifestyle.
They're looking for likes and stuff, and if they don't get so many likes, then they're kind of feeling bad. Like, no one really likes my stuff.
So if your boyfriend tell you that he don't want you no more, you gonna
okay, let me.
I know. So annoying.
He said he don't want you no more, then all of a sudden you busting down, Tatiana.
let me.
You on Facebook like, well, somebody else like this.
Yep.
Now, let me give you another one with the social media side and the likes, right? Like, let's say that you glam yourself up, and then you send that picture out, and then at the bottom of it you say, "I'd like to see if you like me. Send me some likes," and you don't get none.
Yeah.
So now, psychologically and mentally, your mind has got you in a set
Yeah.
of negativity that you think you're less than.
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to somebody who's asked for likes, and all of a sudden they got 3,000 likes. All of a sudden everything's bloop, 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 bloop,
Right.
bloop.
Yeah.
So it's all, that social media is psychological as well.
It
so,
is.
It's a key
It
to
is.
you know,
happiness.
be careful on how you play.
It's key to people's happiness.
Yeah.
Today.
Because sometimes some people just don't have nobody to talk to, and that's their only outlet.
We didn't even think
I
about
didn't think
that.
about
I
that.
know we think about all things, but that is some people that they go to social media and that determines if
Yeah,
they're happy
that
or not.
determines them and what they do, and that's their outcome. But some people live their life behind their social media.
They do, and you can always tell the ones because they post every little thing.
But if I send out somebody to take a picture, say, you know, send me a like or send me a poke, and I don't get none, I'm all right.
Yeah. Well,
Because you're happy with it.
I'm cool with just me. Because let me tell you why. I learned how to do 3 things by myself: bowling, fishing, and golf.
He always
You
said
can
that.
go with me or you
Does that
can
make
go
you
without
happy,
me.
right?
Oh, I'm good.
And you know what? I'm gonna come back to that though, because when we talk about the guilt and shame, I'll be like, what would be some key things that we can give? I mean, because first of all, we have to know if we are in a happy place.
Yeah.
And some people don't never tell the truth about that.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of embarrassing. Because you, like I said, we were just discussing that before. Like people would have thought years ago that I was in this crazy happy place, but they did not know that I was not. You know what I mean? So we gonna get back to that. Remember that. So.
Because I can explain that image.
Right. But we're going to go to the guilt and shame first.
Okay.
Because we're still talking about that. So some people don't want to be happy because of guilt and shame. Like, you cannot be happy. And that's a lot going on social media as well. Like, people do not want to see. Like, if you too happy, people do not. Like, you scared to be like, I'm happy. Like, people would never get. I'm going to just talk about myself. People would never get. They see me on social media. I have so many people like, girl, you living your best life. Girl, I'm so proud of you like this. But until people know the story of what and why, like I would never drop another tear about, you know, being unhappy. And when you get into so many circumstances and situations that may, you know, just say if you was terminally ill and just say you had cancer and then you don't have cancer anymore, anything, like people do not know the dynamics of how your happiness became or is becoming, and they be like, so they make me feel like a certain type of way for me, like I'm trying to ease back on it because I'm like, because I'm so happy, they like, oh, you know, you can't be that way. So it's kind of like a guilt and a shame of me being happy. I'm like, you don't know what all I've been through. You don't know, all this stuff, like all this failure that I had to go through before I got to this.
There.
Okay, I got 4 kids. I got 2 boys that grew up that didn't get shot. They didn't get killed. I mean, so like when you live your life, that would be like considered your best life. But they be like, oh, you phony. Oh, you too happy. Oh, you do too much. Oh, you doing this. And you be like, girl,
but
do you
now-
know I'm happy?
But now look at the whole picture on that whole thing. Is nobody, and this is where again that social media side creates a problem. Nobody wants to put out the real story about self because it brings them too close to them. And so
And
there's
see,
so
I
much
do.
stuff. There's so
I
much
wanna
stuff
tell
that
it all.
we keep hidden because we're trying to figure out how judgmental somebody else is going to be about where we're at and what we're doing.
yeah.
That's that whole picture.
Yes.
Janelle said, you shine your light, you earned it. And I do. Because you know what? People would never know, like you said. And when you get to that point, like the shame and guilt, like it's almost you're ashamed to be happy. Because you'll be worried about this person.
And that's that social media again. Because you're so afraid of how people perceive you and what you are and what you
That's
do.
in reality,
and so
too.
that's a straight reality. And so all you got to do is like I say, just love you and be glad about you and who you are. And if you can't get with me, hey, I'm all right with that. I know how to bowl, fish, and golf.
But how do you feel about people that say that they're happy, but when everything you read about them is unhappiness?
First thing I do is I look at it and I say it's a real reality of where they're at. But as long as they're true with where they're at and know what it really is, then I'm okay with that. But if you got a falsehood of you ain't trying to do nothing, you ain't doing nothing, everything is an ain't, And then all of a sudden, I look on social media and I see you taking all these trips, going everywhere. I see you flashing these nice cars that ain't never been yours in the first place.
Right.
You just walked by and took a picture. You know, that's a whole different ball game, because that's the other part about you know, when you want people to perceive you to be something other than who you are.
Right.
Because sometimes, and again, you got to look in that mirror.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I said, you know, sometimes you can have people, but what if that's their perception of being happy? And I be looking at them like, you is a freaking negative Nancy. Like, it's so irritating. But then it's
But
like,
you got to be around them long enough to know that they really negative. Because when it comes, because we was talking about the social media side. It's anything and everything that y'all want to talk about. I'm telling you.
The
Social
devil.
media is the devil.
Well, I don't know about all that. Okay, well, that's your perception. Because let me tell you, we can even talk about the devil.
No, we ain't gonna talk about the devil on this podcast. Not today.
Y'all brought me into this room. but it's really with social media. It's about image and imagery, about how we see each other, and then then we scale our life compared to somebody else's life to figure out who's better, or who's better something.
Right, because you never see people sharing the real stories. Like, I was like, and you know what, it's kind of, and you know what, you're telling the truth, because I know my son was dealing with mental health illness, and it's like, for me, I know that to get, through and to that part, like, you have to tell the good stuff. Like, I can't be on the best life every day.
Right.
Like, I have struggles with my son. I'm like, I know everybody out here ain't, even when they were growing up, and like, if my kids, piss me off or anything, like, but most people don't tell the truth about it.
They don't, because if someone, now think about it, if one of your friends posts, I'm going through depression, I'm really sad, you would look at that and be like, why are they putting that on here?
Yep.
Like, and it could be their truth.
I just call them.
But then you'll get a lot of people on the social media on the side.
But I know, but we do crack a joke to say something like when they be in the hospital and they go live,
yes.
Like, you ain't sick.
Why are you live in the hospital?
Yeah. But it's man.
Okay, so wait a minute. So wait, what else we had? So caring about what other thinks, caring about what other people think about being happy, and also comfort zones. Sometimes we scared to get out of our comfort zones to become happy.
Yeah.
Because we so used to being unhappy. And I think that hits home for the relationship part. Sometimes people are so scared to be happy in a relationship because they've been dealing with bullcrap for so long, like they wouldn't even understand if a good guy came along.
Yeah, I agree with that. Y'all don't know when I'm coming.
Oh God!
But no, that's real though. It's like, when you go through a lot of stuff and it tends to be a struggle, then you'll never know. And if you don't go through something, then you can't get into your best life or your good life or whatever goes in front of that, because you got to go through something which creates you and creates your character,
right.
And it builds your inner being of who you are, to where you have structure on your internal to say, I'm good enough to go A, B, C, or D. But if you don't have that confidence within yourself, you'll sit there and you'll be depressed and you won't go outside. You'll have the shades down low.
Right.
If the lights
That's
came on,
right
you thought
now.
the sun was shining.
In your bed, eating out of bed, cookies and ice cream, watching Netflix. Yeah.
Right. And everybody deals with it differently.
Have you guys, let me ask you a question, have you guys ever been guilty of when you were just so happy that you was like, oh shoot, something about to happen? You ain't
I don't think I've ever been like that.
What
that happy, I guess.
Nah.
I have.
Let me
I'm
tell
like,
you,
oh,
you know
this
what?
ain't real right here.
when I get to that point of that kind of happiness, I just enjoy that ride, because you never know how long it's gonna last before it becomes different.
Right, that's what I said. So you don't ever think about it.
But you think about enjoying it while you riding and you having a good time, because you never know when it's gonna change. But you don't look for it to change. You don't automatically think that something's negative is gonna happen.
I'll be like, man, I'll be looking like this. Happiness, what you want? Something about to happen, because we just too happy around here.
Yeah, but it's because you're not used to it. You got I'm just saying.
Open that door for Q.
Well, do you want to kick me out now? No, but it's like, and I'm just saying in general.
Used to.
Yeah.
Not now.
No, I'm not. But I wasn't talking about you. I'm just saying in situations, because everybody's situation is different.
Right.
You know, so it's like what makes me happy may not make you happy.
Right. That's true.
You know, so whatever your happiness is, you enjoy it and you have a good time with it. Now, if it includes me in it, hey, let's make it happen and see what it is.
Right.
But if I'm always negative and then you positive,
Ooh,
you ain't gonna come and say, hey, well, let's do da 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 da, let's hang out or let's this, let's that, because you already know that I'm coming negative because that's the energy I've been expressing to you.
That's true.
So now, do you want to deal with me on a negative or a positive?
No, I do not want to deal with anybody else on the negative. I promise you, like, I cannot. I always tell people this and they think I'm crazy. I'm like, the life expectancy for an African American is 70, 80. We are like 40 something. We got like 30 or 40 years to ride this mug out. I definitely don't want to be dealing with no unhappy nothing.
Right.
Don't even put an "un" in front of nothing that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And you know, I agree with you to an extent on that age and that number. But if you look at it on the real, we got more people dying from a lot of different things at a younger age.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of that stress factor and not dealing with the
Unhappiness.
real. But that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. But then the thing is if you change some of your ways and some of the things that you do, then that gives you that comfort zone in order to breathe. Because we're not breathing. We're not inhaling and exhaling. You know, it's not about that movie. It's about the real life.
And that's so crazy because I had a fun fact, so I'm going to just jump over to that. Optimism and positive emotions were found to provide protection against cardiovascular disease, which reduced a heart attack by 50%.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact that I found today. I was like, oh.
Man, if you can laugh at, if somebody goes,
Right.
that's why I go to comedy shows. If you can laugh at stuff that people are saying, laughter and music
Yep.
sets a mood for your internal.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because about 50%. So I'm actually, if you want to share, you don't have to share. Do you remember your happiest moment thus far?
My happiest moment thus far?
Mine was being a mom when I first started having my kids when they were little. That was like the happiest times for me.
My happiest time, and it's going to be kind of a little crucial, but when my mother was living and my father was living, that made me happy because it's like they taught me a lot of different things about life to where I utilize it now. But if they were still here, I would learn much more.
Yeah.
Because that kind of thing, when it comes to family and that side of it, it stunts your growth on learning and knowing. And that's why that positive side, you got to have positive people around you. You got to have thinkers around you.
Yeah.
Because that's what helps you to grow.
That's true.
But if I have a lot of negative people that are always talking negative, always want to fight, always want to, hey, I'll be like, all right, peace. I have no problem with saying, hey, all right, y'all go ahead and do what y'all doing.
Right.
I'll be over here.
Yeah.
But my happiest is my mother and father.
They be happiest.
And everybody say, man, is that just it? Yeah, that's enough for me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Gives you the happiness.
that's my happiness.
I think mine is just finding that place of freedom. I'm like, why didn't I know this stuff like 20 years ago? Like, that is the happiest thing, to know that you do have choices.
Yeah.
And to know that you are liberated and that you have a freedom, and that, you know, just all these things that I'm learning now. It's late in the game, but I think this part is the happiest. Like, your children, you're looking at them like, you know, I just always think about when you were in your unhappiest moments. Like, you know, being the teen mom. Statistically, they said that my kids was going to be blah, 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 blah. But I always fought to be like, they was going to be different. You know what I mean? Just to see them now, like, they parents, we kicking it, we laughing. It's like, oh, it was worth all that. But, you know, unhappy people making you feel a certain type of way as a teenage mom, you know, you took up a big chunk of your time thinking that you couldn't, shouldn't, and wouldn't be this person that you came out to be. And so that's the thing about, for me, is like, that's the happiest thing, to be like, man, like, I'm finally breathing, living, and feeling happiness and, you know, life. Like, it feels really good, you know? So that's mine.
Okay.
Thank you. And I put this like 20 years ago, just not knowing that you did have a choice and a map of life. Like, man.
Yeah. Life has choices.
Yeah. But I didn't
Some
know
of it,
that.
I mean, you got to even to looking at a lot of people, you know, that are of color, and I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you have some people that have never been out of their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And not believing that or even have a thought to know that exists. Some of us will say, "What? You ain't never been off your block on your hood?"
Right. We didn't.
You know,
we were growing up.
And then it's like, I mean, because I just came back from a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
She turned 80 years old, and her name is Gertrude, and she's from Aurora, Illinois. And half of Aurora was down there for the birthday party.
Mm.
And her thing was she had never been to Vegas. And so this is her opportunity to go. And everybody that grew up around her or knew her, they were all down there to support her in life. That's
cool.
why I was down there.
Yeah.
Everybody thought I went down there for whatever goes in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah. That's what you down there. So, okay. So as we close out, what would be some? I guess we could all kind of give a couple of things that we would give if you had somebody out there watching. Like I even said today, I had somebody call me that was in an unhappy position, and I'm like. So I always try to, when people call me and ask me some things, I always try to pray. Because I'll be like, God, please let me say the right thing to give them that aha moment. Because I know it had to be an aha moment for me. Even though it was very dramatic to get it, I know that to switch to that happy position, something has to happen.
Yeah.
Something has to happen. And lo and behold, we want it to be that good thing and not that thing that make us be happy. So if you can give anybody who's watching... We got Janelle, Regina, everybody, hi. What kind of advice, if it's somebody that's watching today, what advice would you give?
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
You want to know the truth?
What?
Tell them the truth.
I told her that today, too.
It's that simple. If you really want to help somebody to grow, tell them the truth. Tell them the realness of the reality of what you visually see. Mm-hmm. But then you also let them know that it's just your opinion. Because you got a lot of other people that's going to give you different insights on what is and what ain't. Mm-hmm. But if you tell them the truth,
and that's so crazy when the person that I was talking to today, when I talked to her, I said, that was the main thing that I told her. I said, you have to find your truth. Yeah. And that was for me, to find my happiness, I had to be okay with who and what I was. I had to be okay with the decisions I made. I had to be okay with presenting, if it was brought up or anything. Like, I had to be happy within that to make sure that I stay happy. But that was the main thing that I told her today. I was like, because she'll say, like, a person that's unhappy will present all this other stuff. They'll present all these layers and layers of stuff that don't even have to do with the main thing. So I said, you got to find out your truth. It could be this, this, and this, but these are like the branches off the tree. The tree and the root is this. Yeah. And you got to figure that out.
And that's really telling the truth.
Yeah.
And it's like, you
have to look at. I have to tell you the truth.
You have to look at one of the things that we're afraid of is being alone or being by ourselves. I'm just telling you.
Talk about that before we started.
I'm telling you. But the hardest part about being alone and being by yourself is coming to the reality of the truth of that's where you're really at.
Q-Bear, we were just talking about that because I remember, and we were just talking about that because I was saying, like, now that I have been alone, like I told her when I was unhappy and going through all that drama, and now I find myself telling other girls that, but I used to hate when women used to tell me, why don't you just be by yourself? Like, you need to just be alone. And I couldn't get it because I didn't. It wasn't that I was like.
But it was probably. Now we're gonna talk about you.
No, wait. Let me tell my story first. Okay. But because we was talking about. It's so funny that you said it because I just actually told her and like everybody that I speak to now because I said what was the thing that I was so afraid of to be in that position. Yeah. Like just to be honest, I would hear women tell me that all the time. Like marriage after marriage, relationship after relationship, they will only have one advice from me all the time. And I said maybe if we take a different way of presenting it. To say like be by yourself, I said, but the most thing that I said, the enemy as well do not want you to have it because it brings you clarity. Mm-hmm. Once you get into that position, you can figure out what your happiness is. Everything when you by yourself, you can figure out everything that you need.
Let me give you one crazy one. Everybody wants to be happy, right? Mm. But then the psychological side of what makes people happy is to be married. But then See how y'all face expression was? I ain't.
Well, some people say most people.
But okay, well, most people, and it's about being married. But if you talk to most people that are married, they're trying to figure out how to not be married without. So don't tell me.
That's not true.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell you like running water. Like running water. If you don't want to drink it, you ain't got to.
Look at his opinion. He's on the 4 opinions today.
But I'm telling you, it's like being married. There's nothing wrong with being married, and there has happy points to it. But every day is not gonna be a happy moment,
right?
But then it's like, what is it that you'll go through in order to keep it, to maintain it, to make it right? That's when we go back to that very beginning thing that I was talking about, the grass looking greener on the other side. It's just watered different. Yeah. And it's, you got to put it in. You got to make sure that you doing something to help it to grow.
Right.
Because if not, marriage is negative to some people.
Right, but I think people get the misconception of being alone because, like I said, I didn't know. Like, if I would have known, from your first heartbreak, if you would have just took that time to be alone and kind of get some clarity on, to find your happiness, because you know what, being alone is your path and your journey to happiness. That's just my opinion. Because when you have that time to not, when you have unhappiness and you continue to put unhappiness on, just stuff on top, all that garbage on top of each other, how could you sift that? How could you sift it out?
Don't be cursing.
I didn't cuss, but I'm just saying, how could you sift it out?
Right.
So if my advice for somebody that's on their quest to find happiness and whatever it is, and another thing I used to hear in church all the time, but I didn't know, trust God. But when they say trust God, I didn't get it because you could hear it all the time every Sunday. Trust God is like, you really have to trust God when you don't want to talk to that person. When you finally say, I'm blocking him, I'm done with him, block, and whatever else happens after that, and let God do what he needs to do while you're in the midst of that, I believe that.
Yeah. But everybody has their truth. Everybody has that inner being spirit that God has placed on our life. He doesn't. We don't pick and choose our family. Our family is given to us, but we can make a determination on our friends that we have around us. Right. Okay, and so in the process of that, that's what helps you with your growth and your happiness. Right. And if you have a lot of people that say they're your friends, but then every time something comes up, it's always negative, know the truth to that situation. Know what's in front of you. And then from that point, you got to make decisions and choices because it's not about everybody being happy. It's about me being happy first.
So is that
and that's not being selfish.
Is that unrealistic to think that everybody could be happy?
That's very unrealistic. Because everybody will want to be happy, but everybody's not going to be happy.
Right. And some people don't.
Because I just don't like that you have beautiful lips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And so then they're gonna say, "Man, did you see her lips?"
Right.
I mean, we I'm just saying out of a simple mode. Yeah. I wear size 16 shoes. Some people would say, "Man, if my feet was," but no, you have to shop different, and that's how we gotta look at life.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, and a lot of people say I talk crazy. I do. But if you really listen to what I'm saying, somewhere down the line, it's going to come back to you and say, that's what he was talking about. Yeah. So I can talk to y'all all day.
So is there any limitations to happiness?
Is there any limitations?
Yeah.
First, you got to be happy. Then you can look at the limit side. But you got to get there first. Right. You never know what the limit is.
People, you are missing out on
Let me tell you, you don't know the limitations of something that you've never seen.
Right. That's why I don't feel bad because I was like, how could you feel bad about love if you didn't know what love was? Like, I chop up everything because it's like, for real, you on the quest because you heard about it and you saw it, whatever. But you really could not be mad about something that you lost or whatever if you didn't know what it really was.
Yeah. And then that's where that pain and that inner pain comes from. Right. To where you say, oh, well, I don't know if I could do it without this person. Well, you got to where you were to that person by yourself. So when you by yourself and that person ain't there, you still going to be okay. Right. You just got to do things that helps you to be that way. And if you sit in the house and you eat that chocolate ice cream and them donuts and the cakes and the candy and everything else that come along with it.
But you happy, right?
I'm happy as a lark.
You be in the bed like,
man.
Your own personal happiness.
Man, but you really got to get there, and that's one of the things about just life within itself.
Yeah,
it's finding out your happiness. Yeah. What makes you happy?
And it's a beautiful thing. That's the thing I know about. Like I had said, we was talking about that. Like I just remember people just always telling you stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, and I understand you can't really tell people stuff unless you've been through it or to offer it. Because being that you went through it, now you can kind of present it in a different manner. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just like when I talk to people now, like it's the patience level is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I just went through this, but then I also understand that I was a gem to get through it. Mm-hmm. So I try to be like hand in hand with somebody on their journey to find the happiness, because he didn't have to do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Or who, the spirit, whatever, it did not have to be done for me. So that's why I try to offer the same thing. But it's just like, it's a beautiful place. I just think your happiness is like a beautiful journey to get to. Do you have it always figured out? No. And is it going to be some bumps? But you know what? The bumps are not as harder, and the bruises are not as harder.
If you have a better understanding.
Yes. Come on, Q, man.
That's my dog.
She said that. I'm like, oh.
That's my dog.
Some knowledge. Very nice.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out. We pulled you in. We know you were busy. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you again. Next week, no.
Well, let's not say what we're going to do next week.
No, we're not going to say it.
Next
week,
I'm
tune
singing.
in next week.
He's singing. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I cannot with you. But thank you again. This was really good. We got some information. Next week, Edie should be back. Hopefully she get well soon. And any final thoughts, Walter Q. Bell Jr.? My boy always come through for me, man.
Remind everybody about y'all's boat ride.
Oh yeah. Oh, the boat ride.
About the boat ride.
Okay.
Yeah. What is it?
May
the 25th. Yeah. May the 25th. If you want tickets or more information, 612-377-0594. That's 612-377-0594. Also at Urban Lights over in St. Paul. His brother that has a business called Urban Lights, a record store, and it's on University, and they have tickets there as well.
So we got our girl Chantel performing, and we possibly.
I look forward to it.
Wait a minute, but we got the little secret. Did they say yes?
Well, we're mine.
We gonna have karaoke. Hopefully.
Yeah, we working on some.
We working on some.
We can't tell y'all what we're working on. All we can tell you is that you're gonna have an enjoyable time on the boat, and it's cruising up and down the Stillwater.
No, somebody came in today and bought like $500 worth of tickets.
Oh, it's going down.
Yes, those tickets.
It's gonna sell out, you guys. So you got to get your tickets right away.
Yeah. I got mine. And if you're looking for the tickets that I got, no, I ain't got none.
So y'all make sure y'all tune in. Y'all give me a call as well, 952-687-9888, or hit the 4 Opinions up. Like and share this video. We love y'all.
See you next
Thursday.
Week. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Well, that was like powerful at the end. I got to remember what you said at the end.